Imagine a wet market with loads of pets, domestic animals, wildlife, seafood, and it is highly crowded with native people. There's a lot of dangerous chance to mix with the human and non-human and wildlife. This is a place where last year's pandemic has started. COVID-19 has started from Wuhan that killed more than 2.5 million people last year. IMF estimates the world economy has shrunk 4.4% last year. This is the worst after the global depression of 1930. Stopping the pandemic depends upon us. The biggest challenge last year we have faced was to be safe from the pandemic. We have partially succeeded to overcome the pandemic. We already developed a vaccine against the disease. COVID-19 has reached most of the countries around the world. In most of the countries, the unemployment has increased. Many people have lost their jobs. 75% of newly emerging diseases are coming from animals, especially from wild animals. There are lots of chance to be affected a disease from bats, MERS from camels, and swine flu from pigs. There are more than 250 million pigs are slaughtering every year in Europe. WHO, World Health Organization, always review the pathogens that cause a medical emergency all over the world. Nipah is the top 10 in their consideration. When we consider bats, we have experience with lots of bats and humans are mixing together. The natural habitat of bats is forest, thick forests, but the deforestation made them come into the native places of human beings. Deforestation and wildlife trade is a major cause of deadly virus. The mortality rate of Nipah is 90%. It is more high intensity when we compare with COVID-19. MERS also 10 times severe than the COVID-19 virus that came from chance of direct contact with bats, camels and pigs. That is a possibility of next pandemic. Being a carrier is not the fault of wildlife or bats. What we can do to prevent spreading the disease or making that a spillover. It is only our activity that the pandemic has emerged and it is spreading. We destroyed the ecosystem of wildlife and bats and so and so. Then they came into our place and that caused lots of diseases. There are millions of viruses carrying by the wildlife that can be potential pandemic when it comes to human body. It is our activity that helps to spread the pandemic. Fortunately, there are works going on from scientists to find out the intensity of the diseases, how it spreads and how can we prevent that one. A group of scientists installed GPS to bats to track their behavior, where they are flying and so. Then they find out the bats can fly more than 100 kilometers every night. Nipah reported from Bangladesh where the people drinks date palm juice. It's a juice harvested from date trees. The same thing happens in Cambodia also. Very few labs in the world are allowed to store and culture Nipah virus within their high security facilities. The major cause of pandemic is wildlife, that is wildlife trade and deforestation. A study published in Science magazine last month that says the paper name was The Ecology and Economics of Pandemic. In that study, they reveals that to prevent wildlife trade and the deforestation, the expense for that it is $25 billion a year. It's the 2% of economic and mortality costs of responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. Is 2% of economic and mortality cost of responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, which some economists predict could reach $10 to $20 trillion.